Well, you don't need to prove cheating in a divorce because Michigan has adopted a no-fault law with respect to divorce. In other words, it's not necessary to prove fault. Nobody has to show I'm entitled to a divorce because you did this. Or the defense, you're not entitled to divorce because you can't prove that I did this. You want a divorce, you ask for a divorce, that's what you want, you get it. You don't have to do anything other than prove that there's been a breakdown of the marriage. And frankly, in order to prove it, all you got to do is come to court and say, Your Honor, there's been a breakdown of the marriage, and that's it. There's a reason why we have these rules. I mean, if we pull out the fault aspect of the divorce from getting the divorce itself, then what ends up happening is we limit the drama. It's no longer necessary to submit all sorts of proofs that you did this to me, I did this to you back. Well, I don't have any of that kind of drama. Two people come in, they want a divorce. Okay, boom, you get a divorce. Now we go about the business of dividing up property and all that. Now, I also want to tell you that part of this is a cost-saving mechanisms. Proving, for example, adultery is very expensive. Defending it is very expensive. It's very time-consuming. Lawyers could spend a lot of time and a lot of billable hours dealing with the issue of whether or not somebody did this or didn't do that. And then even if they did, the question becomes, okay, you did that, but did that proximately cause the breakdown of the marriage? Was it the cause of the downfall of the marriage versus a symptom of an already broken marriage? That becomes a big deal. So proving guilt tends to prolong the litigation. It also, to a very considerable degree, hinders cooperation. In other words, if you're getting into the question of who's at fault or who's not, it's likely to spill over into other areas of the negotiation. If we don't have to deal with whose fault it is, we just have to feel the fact that this marriage is broken down and therefore we have to go through the business of dividing assets and liabilities, it tends to lend itself to a much higher level of cooperation. So all things considered, it was determined by the legislature that was the appropriate way to do it. Now, is every state in the union like this? No. There are some states where fault is still a significant factor in some things. In the state of Texas, you can get a jury trial on the issue of fault. It really makes a circus out of things, but we don't have that. Here in Michigan, fault may be relevant to property division and some other things, but as far as getting the divorce itself, there's no longer a need to prove that.
248-58